And now the challenge for Jesse Minter, who's gotten that job, is to get Lamar Jackson to choose to show up for the offseason program so he can learn the new offense. And Lamar has given up $1.5 million total over the last 2 years by not showing up for enough of the offseason workouts.
Damn, Lamar.
Here's
Damn.
Minter from yesterday.
He could have gave me that money, and I would have gone worked with him and hung out with him and done some stuff and whatever.
I was going to mention, like, from the Chris Simms Unbuttoned podcast being interrupted. I mean, it was from the Chris. I was a guest for the first time ever on Chris Simms Unbuttoned to interview a guest on the show. That's like Inception type stuff.
It was. We were live on NBC Sports, our YouTube page, and doing all that. So, yeah, you jumped in, and I had to play host for a minute, which was funny.
Here's Minter in response to my question, not his, on getting Lamar Jackson to choose to participate in the team's voluntary offseason program. How do you, as the head coach, come up with a strategy to get your quarterback to volunteer to be there so he can learn the new offense and the team can get off on the right foot?
Yeah, first of all, I do have total respect for the rules that it is voluntary. Totally understand that. And Lamar has had unbelievable success doing it both ways. And so there's certainly a balance there. But I think it's our job to create an environment and a learning opportunity where they feel like it's really important to them to want to be there. The feeling of what we're doing now will pay off in September and October and November versus, okay, we're coming in and we're kind of doing the same routine. It just needs to be an environment that they really feel the importance of it. Well, also us understanding that, we're going to take advantage of who's there. We understand that things come up in the offseason. And so we'll make the best of the situation no matter what it is.
Eric DeCosta on that same topic a day earlier said that Lamar is a two-time MVP. I think he knows what it takes to get ready for the grind of the NFL season. He's proven he can do it at a very, very high level, and I have no preference. And the BS meter is in response to that. They want him there.
They want him there.
But they're tiptoeing around him.
They're probably a little scared because they don't know if he's definitely going to be there. So they don't want to say he's not, we want him there, we want him there. And then, the first week comes and he's like, hey, I'm not going to be there. And it kind of looks silly. So there's that aspect. But, yeah, they need him there. And I will sit here and plead to Lamar that he needs to be there. And I'm saying that as a guy that, I don't know Lamar personally, but I root for him and I want the best for him. And I sit here all the time and say, damn, he's one of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen in the sport, and he's yet to be a Super Bowl. It's crazy. We're sitting here. And to me, yes, with a new regime and a new offensive system, right, you see all that. Declan Doyle, it's going to be different as far as what he's expected to do at the line of scrimmage, the verbiage in the huddle, all of that. And that's where you would like him to be there to be a part of that process instead of, hey, we're on the phone here and there. We Zoomed here and there. We've had some meetings a little bit, but we didn't have any real time to really get into the nuance of the offense until training camp. You don't want that to happen. That's the big thing. So that's where I think they hope Lamar is there for the full offseason, and I hope Lamar is there too, because I only think it's going to help him. And then this, got a chance to be a damn good offense with him underneath center there.
There's this weird dynamic that plays out from time to time where I get these Ravens fans who say, why do you hate Lamar? Why are you saying this about Lamar? Why are you It's like, wait a minute. We're constantly supporting him. My longstanding position he should have an agent isn't about helping the agent that he would hire. It's about helping Lamar get his contracts done on a more timely basis, get him the money he deserves more expediently, make the process go more smoothly so he can have what he wants, so he has an advocate who is trying to bring whatever he desires his career to be to fruition, which a good agent can do. And he does have the right to stay away from the offseason program, but he gave up $750,000 to do it. And I assume he understands that, but, man, that's a lot to consciously give up.
Definitely
and
is.
I know when you're making a lot of money, $750,000, but it's still $750,000. That's a lot of money to give up. And what Jesse Minter said, I think, makes a lot of sense. And there may be a little bit of a backhanded slap in there at the way they've done, or how they've done things. Well, when Minter says we've got to make them think this is worth their time, and if Lamar hasn't been there, the implication is he doesn't think it's worth his time, which means the past coaching staff wasn't doing enough to make the players like Lamar believe they had to be there, that they're learning something, that they're getting the keys to the kingdom, that they're getting the secrets. And I just think that's a communication thing, because after hanging out some yesterday with Todd Monken, who's been the offensive coordinator for the past several years in Baltimore, I'd be like, yeah, I'd want to soak up everything this guy had to say.
Yeah.
I can go there and listen to him for, X hours a day, 4 days a week for 10 weeks or however long the whole program is. Yeah, I want to do that. I want to be around him more. I want to learn that. So maybe it was just a failure to communicate or just press the right buttons, but they've always had this vibe of they're tiptoeing around him because he doesn't have an agent, and they've always got to communicate through him. There's no third party they can go to and have an awkward conversation, so they're always awkward when it's dealing with Lamar. It's so obvious from our perspective.
Well, yeah.
That it's all tiptoeing around tiptoeing on eggshells,
Yeah.
tiptoeing around the delicate genius, as I used to say about Aaron Rodgers. But I just think that they don't want to piss Lamar off. They want to respect him. And so that tough conversation doesn't happen as clearly and directly as it needs to, or maybe it just doesn't even happen at all.
Right. Well, it happens generally anyways when you're as great as Lamar is. So there's going to be some tiptoeing there to a degree. And then Lamar also has been so great that he's been able to also, go have years where I didn't show up for OTAs. I still won the MVP. I was the man. So there's a little bit of that. But I will still sit here and tell you from the fabric of the team, the culture of the team, it's better to be there. And then where, hopefully it hits him a little bit this year is that the offense is going to have some maybe more moving parts and things to learn. And maybe he realizes early on in the process, like, whoa, I missed the first day or two and I'm way behind. And there's things here that, like, I need to get a grasp of, right? It's a totally different way of things I got to do and orchestrate at the line of scrimmage. And hopefully within that fear of, wait, I don't want to be left behind and I want to learn this stuff and know this so we can continue to grow the offense, that Lamar will be there and be there for that. But we'll see where it goes. Lamar is phenomenal. We know that. Declan Doyle, I'm excited to see what he can be, the offensive coordinator there, coming from Detroit, being under Ben Johnson a little bit. So that's going to be a similar system. We're going to see Lamar underneath center. Right? Lamar is a guy that does not – he's got no limitations as far as what you can do with him on the offensive side of the ball, and he never seems to say anything, or we never hear anything. He doesn't like to do this or do that. He'll get underneath the center. They motion. Monken's offense had a lot of different stuff, moving parts to it. So he's obviously capable of picking up an offense in a hurry. But at the same time, I don't care who you are. When you're picking up a new offense, it's never easy as a quarterback.
And my point is this as it relates to Lamar Jackson. I think we all need, especially in our 20s, someone in our life who can have the difficult conversations with us in an effective way, that we will listen to them, that we trust them, and that they understand the nuances of this broader environment in which we operate. That's where an agent would be helpful to Lamar. To be that liaison to the team, but also to go to Lamar and say, here's what I think you need to do. If you want the best advice for how to advance your career, this is what you need to do. This is the offer you need to accept. This is the offer that we need to make. This is how we need to engineer your career. And he's never had that. It has still worked to his benefit. He's won 2 MVPs, $52.5 million per year contract that he got at a time when it wasn't clear he was ever going to get a deal done. It was top of the market at the time. But, he's wanted an adjustment for a year now, and he hasn't gotten one. And one of the reasons he hasn't gotten one is he doesn't have that guy who can be the buffer that the team can say things to that they'd like to say to Lamar, but they can't say it directly. And then Lamar's got somebody who can say to the team the things he may not be comfortable saying directly. It just bridges that gap. And I go back to the 61-page ruling in the collusion grievance that Lamar and Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson all put their names on, that Pablo Torre uncovered after they tried to hide it, they being the league and the union for 5 months. When you look at that, it's clear that there were basic impediments to communication between Lamar Jackson and Eric DeCosta. You have a good agent there, and you eliminate that. You smooth that over. So, I got to give the agent 3%. But your 97% piece of the pie is bigger than the 100% pie that you baked on your own.
Yes.
That's what the guys who insist on representing themselves don't understand. Yes, I have to give up 3%. But what I have left is more pie than if I bake a full pie and keep it all myself.
To totally hear you there. I'm always in favor of the agent. The team has the advantage in negotiations. Football players are football players. They're not agents. And you can still do a good contract. He did that. But, an agent can put tools in certain language and things that can protect a player, and maybe would have been able to foresee the future a little bit and maybe have gotten more money going, hey, the market's going here. And Lamar will be left behind here very shortly if we don't kind of orchestrate the contract like that. And Lamar's looking at it right now going, I've been left behind, right? I need a new deal. I need to do something. One thing that Baltimore needs to figure out in general on this whole subject, I know you've heard this. You know I've heard this from people that have been in Baltimore, whatever. They got to stop, from what we've been told, right, and me specifically, they got to stop. There's a little bit of, we've always heard this, the favor the stars a little bit in Baltimore. Favor the stars. The stars kind of get away with a little bit more than the rest of the football team. And that's just not going to how it's going to go down. I heard Mike Vrabel last week in an interview. They talked about, or right before the Super Bowl, what are non-negotiables when coaching a football team. And he said you got to treat your best player like everybody else on the football team. You can't go down that road. And, of course, he's using that experience. If you saw Bill Belichick to treat Tom Brady like he was player number 46 on the roster instead of the GOAT, right? So that's where I do think that has to be fixed a little bit, and hopefully Lamar can fix that himself a little bit and help bridge that a little. But as we know, with great organizations and teams that win the Super Bowl more times than not, the quarterback's there all the time, invested all the time, in the facility all the time, a gym rat, a psycho, involved in the draft process, looking at players, helping the team out in free agency, living it, breathing it, all they do. That's all I ever hear with people connected to Kansas City. I hear it with people connected in Buffalo. I hear it with people in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow. And so that's where I just go, that's one area I think Lamar can improve on a little bit.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.